Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to another game for Perth by Night, where Rafat Duda has been invited to Leon's Bookstore.
Will come in carefully, looking around.
Actually, when he gets there, on the door is actually currently locked. On pressing the buzzer, he sees for a moment Stacy, looking at the door, and she looks actually really frightened right now.
Yeah.
And seeing who it is, she goes back, presses the buzzer, lets you in.
When she's near the door, if that will have, he's got a small mirror in his hand and he's kind of angling it. Like he's got very good perception, so he can just kind of look out a corner of his eye. She might not know, but Leon will when he sees her back again.
So once you actually enter, it looks like Leon has decided to hold an impromptu redecorating session. Because there are several chairs that are thrown around and broken. The table has been, the long table has been flipped, and actually one of the metal chair legs has been broken off. Several books are strewn about the shelves. Some of them appear to have been ripped in half. Others have been made into a very small, crappy occult confetti.
Rafat is got the mirror and he's kind of scanning the room. He's like, "My prince," but he seems to go and he's checking.
Yeah. No,
any space for anyone to hide, he's checking with the mirror.
Leon's actually just sitting at the chair he's normally been sitting in. He's just sort of, playing with the remains of a book. Like, hello, Rafat.
Hello. Would you indulge me for a moment? I know your clan is skilled with obfuscate. Have you learnt Mask of a Thousand Faces yet?
No, not yet.
I know you're skilled with all specs, but still, just have what it means. Rafat will hand him the mirror. You know what this is. You're a bit better informed than some of the others.
Now I'll make a quick into occult roll.
Difficulty set. Say.
One success.
Well, they have mirrors and they can see stuff.
It's like, I assume this mirror has been enchanted in some fashion?
Yes, one of my clan. I gift to you, especially in these troubling times. It will see through various illusions, as well as let you see the true state of something. If someone has altered themselves, like one of the werebeasts, or if they are invisible, like ghosts, that kind of thing, it will let you see them.
Well, that's very handy. Especially given some news I just received.
I will receive the same message. I have forwarded on the finer points to the, well, the most important point to the lion's mane of our clan, the grasshoppers.
Good. I'm going to need to talk to the Giovanni representative. Put, I think, the fear of Abdul Fattah in him.
Yes, perhaps. No. Well as this, I have figured out. Given out to members of my clan, you might be familiar with the ritual of the burning blade.
Hang on one second. For some reason, you're very soft. I've got this up to max, and I can barely hear.
You may be familiar with the ritual of the burning blade.
I believe I may have seen it in action once or twice.
Well, I've prepared a few. going giving one to the sheriff and members of my clan. But of course, using them will has a high likelihood of final death. But I doubt we'll be having any. Well, I doubt you'll take issue with us breaching that tradition when it's on Sabbat.
No, when it comes to yes, when it comes to the Sabbat invading, I think we can deal with a few minor breaches. But yeah, as you can see, I did not take the news that well.
No, especially with the Archon gun as his enemy Killinger. But they would not be around forever anyway. It's a moment, hopefully, will galvanize to the right.
Yes. Well, let's see. Grasshoppers. We'll need to talk to certain, to the other coterie here in the city.
Well, the Forgotten have both Bagger and Hannibal, so some potential readers.
Yes.
There, the Grasshoppers aware. Hannibal will make their aware.
Has your the other Tremere here in the city, has he considered joining a coterie yet?
Archer or Wraith?
Archer, I believe.
Archer is a bit more of a solitary druid. However, I'm hoping that he might be able to aid the sheriff in investigation. He was the one
Uh,
looking into that, those details that led to the army.
yes. No, I was more asking for him since he'd been here in the town longer, but well, everyone has their solitary sorts.
Prefer to see them forming coteries, but these things take time.
Okay, so there's that. Mm. Um,
If you wish to go see the druid, I could go with you.
that would be helpful. We might thinking of who else we might call, but honestly, for something along these lines, I think the two of us would probably be sufficient to deal with any foolish attempts on his part. One second, I'm gonna close the door, see if that helps me with less background noise.
Okay. You need to check the room every now and again, because unfortunately ghosts can come in when ghosts can come in with all sorts of reasons.
No. So the mirror that Leon gets, about what size is it?
I'm thinking it's, to be honest, around about the size of a smartphone. Which I
And like ornate or otherwise?
um a little ornate, but mainly practical.
Okay. So hmm. Do you know if putting this into a case will do any damage to the enchantment upon it?
Should not. Though I wouldn't. It would take significant amount of damage. A scratch wouldn't break the enchantment, but
Okay.
shattering it may do so.
Well, I
But I would
don't
agree.
shatter it.
If the shattering it had hell, I'd break a couple of them on purpose and have a few parts lying around. one ritual to make several very small mirrors. Make one large mirror.
Exactly. Well, yes, in that case, we could probably. I'm just thinking of possible concealability for a few situations where that would be useful. I'll I'll see what I can get put together. But all right. Well, in any case, would you rather drive or should I?
I can drive. I can leave you free if anything happens.
Yes. All right. Well, by my driving, I meant actually my ghoul driving, but
It's not too long before they get to the hotel, which they have to make a phone contact. You meet them in the hotel. You start speaking to them, um, and they will be able to speak with Chung de la Pasaglia. But we'll try and discreetly check the room.
and
Yeah,
once they start getting towards the Giovanni, Leanne will take a couple glances at the mirror, seeing if he notices any ghosts.
there is one standing outside the door. That when it sees the ghost from before. When they're in the room, there are three wraiths, three spirits, sitting around.
So, you know, once we get there, it's like, so, what was the Giovanni's name?
Chung de la Pasaglia.
Ah, so, Mr. Della Pasaglia, I have a rather important question for you.
Ah, please.
How
Tyrus, go ahead.
much do you know about your clan's current activities in the city of Albany?
Nothing.
Good. That is actually to your credit.
I do not believe we have anybody permanently in business there.
Uh, Currently also doing a perception and empathy check on him, with, of course, all of my aspects.
Open, I can choose the results.
What was that?
Okay, you got it.
So 4 successes.
Yeah, he doesn't seem shocked or answering pointed questions about stuff he doesn't know. Like, you don't think he actually like he seems to be genuine, but he doesn't seem surprised you're coming to talk to him.
Uh, well, I have it from a highly credible source that the Nagaraja are currently in Albany, and they are in talks with two different groups. The first group they're in talks with are the Sabbat.
Ah,
The second group they are in talks with is would be members of your clan.
well, will be a matter of concern for you, Prince Harris, I imagine.
Yes, it would in fact be a member of concern for you. And I think it would also, yes, for me, and I think it would also be a matter of concern for you, since if I find that your clan has aided the Sabbat in attacking my city, I will be, with some reluctance, forced to give you over to the tender mercies of Abdul Fattah.
But that seems rather extreme, especially since I have done nothing.
No,
And
and I understand that, but your family as a whole is, as I understand it, along the lines of a corporation. And you are the local representative of this corporation.
The promise of 1528 was a treaty between the Camerel and Giovanni which formally recognized it was given by the founders and Claudius Giovanni. Affairs is also granted Giovanni authority over the city of
You
Venice.
sort of dropped for a moment there.
Um, the promise included the assurance of non-interference of both Giovanni and Camerel into each other's affairs. My family members, my clan, would not attack your city, not of their own accord. However, we provide services rendered non-interference. We would not go off and just start attacking cities. However, I cannot be held accountable if different members of my clan were to do such things if they were hired to perform services. Now, if I do indeed have counterparts amongst my clan who are working with Zabat, they would not be held accountable if you were to hire me to perform similar tasks. That is, if it is a case where you were saying that in Albany or other areas, members of my clan cannot be ever associating with the Zabat, or
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that for a direct attack, that since this is planned in a direct attack upon my city, that is an issue of some concern. Which, oh, that may be construed as breaking the treaty you just mentioned.
that would be rather a stretch. Unfortunately, there have been many moments when, for example, the battle to reclaim New York, members of my family were contracted and did in fact aid the Cameron reclaim the city from the Sabbat. So, if that is the case, then this is, well, what exactly have members of my clan done?
Well, fortunately, for both our sakes, the information we have so far simply indicates that they are in talks, not that they have committed one way or the other.
Now, of course, you are the prince of the city, and my clan respects that. If you wish to leave, and discuss about that is one thing. However, making not terribly veiled threats regarding handing me over to psychotic things is another matter.
Well, now it comes down to I will admit I expected your reaction to be slightly different than it was, and I am actually impressed with your reaction. And so, for the at least for the time being, I'll retract my earlier threat.
Thank you.
Um, that said, if the city falls and Abdul Fattah survives, I will not be there to intervene if he attempts to take any vengeance.
If the city falls, I personally, although it is possible members of my clan, it might not be members of my family, but members of my clan are coordinating and working for members of the Sabbat. I have, well, if they know of my presence here, they may have been kind enough to make the specifications that I should not be harmed, but I do not know. And if the city is looking precarious, I'm not going to let myself fall on the tender mercies of the bat, and I will make my exit.
Mm.
I have no engagement with them.
Well, I will. I will say, the more I interact with you, the more I have a certain respect for you.
Independent clans must have a our rules of interacting with others are a bit different. The Camerla clan cannot interact with these things the same way. Means that members of our clan, when the time arises, interact with this bat, which of course would be have far more negative effects for members of Camerla clan if they were to do such a thing. But there are. It is always best to keep in mind when one is going to the bar. The lines are in different positions, but they should not be crossed. As I said, if members of my family were outright, I do not think they would be just attacking the city.
Oh,
However, as a
no, I
way
don't.
promising them certain things. Unfortunately, I could imagine if the Sabbat are well informed, they might be able to entice them with promise of aid to wipe out the supposed harbinger of skulls. That, not in of itself, that would certainly entice them, as that is not on the cards due to our prior negotiations between the two of us. Now, I hope fervently myself that you're able to stay in your position and that I'll be able to talk you around to seeing my viewpoint on that particular individual for the good of all.
Hmm. Well, it is good to have ambitions. So, in that case, might I ask what services you could render the city in aid of its defense, especially since I already know that most likely the Nagaraja have already sent some of their ghostly servitors here.
Let me see. It is always so difficult to summarize all. If you have any ghosts in a particular area you dispose of, if the Nagraj are summoning such things, if you could identify the area to me, I could, for proper compensation, remove such things. Let's see. That is one of the easiest things. Perhaps get some information even out of them. But
And
it really depends what they've been told.
yes, well, I am not certain what level of control you, for instance, are able to hold over the various wraiths and specters of the night, but I am well aware that both uh, Abdul Fattah and the Nagaraja are quite proficient in such that they were waging a proxy war using ghosts.
Possibly.
It was one that was violent enough that a large number of human sensitives were having rather extreme dreams and visions about them.
If your if any of your members of your court meet one, might be able to shed on light on the who and the why, if I can have access to it.
I say again?
If a member of your court meets final death, I will be able to possibly shed some light on how, if I was given access to the corpse.
That is actually very useful of a skill. It seems to me. Let's see. As far as dealing with ghostly adversaries, uh, I assume that you have some skill, but I think you're uncertain as to whether it's greater than that of the Nagaraja.
Well, I'm not sure of this particular Nagaraja's capability, but I doubt it. Unfortunately, I am not a elder of my clan, having only one member of the clan in this city. Well,
No, I can understand. This is why, well, to be perfectly honest, I think given his already shown propensities, I think using Abdul Fattah to deal with the more direct assaults upon the ghosts, and using you perhaps in a more information gathering uh, capacity would both be useful, uh, utilize both of your skills, and prevent any friendly fire, as it were.
possibly, like I said, if you identify a location that is having difficulty with as well, then you can contact me and we can. price, and it moves
Yes.
it. And
And
even if they're sent by my family, well, if they've been hired to do such things, there's nothing wrong with me fulfilling my contract. I wouldn't hurt one of them, but there's nothing stopping me under legitimate business from one of the ghosts they have sent.
yes. No, I believe we understand each other. Um, is there any? Are there any particular? What forms of compensation were you looking for, so that I may prepare them ahead of time?
Monetary, it's always good. Certain impressions, consideration. I do not currently have access to a domain, but given the current circumstances with unknown numbers of that running around, uh, well,
I can understand your reluctance to immediately set up shop.
now as well, I couldn't. I doubt you'll go for it. But seeing as you're concerned that there are members of my family potentially being hired, so that if I were able to give them something of significance, such as a promise of being able to remove the Harbinger of Skulls, I could talk to the elders of my family. I'm sure they'd be able to find out if someone was hybridized about it. Now, they wouldn't break any contracts they have, however, they might decline
Preventing.
to accept any future ones.
Yes.
That's your turn.
Well, no. Might I make a counteroffer?
No?
As a counteroffer, I will allow. I will allow certain abilities for physical passage through the area known as Kings Park, which I am given to understand may be of some interest to your clan.
Possibly. The second most interesting thing in the city, alright. I'll pass it along. However, that is not an unworthy thing, but not of the same level of significance. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, yes,
Getting around nerds and such
I
like.
can, I can understand your position, but well, as Prince, one of the things I have resolved to do is essentially reward correct behavior and punish incorrect behavior. And so far, Abdul Fattah has behaved correctly. But so far, you have as well.
It seems, until I speak to perhaps my clan, see if I can persuade them to even go looking, it seems we're at an impasse. However, if you have problems with such specters, please don't be afraid to contact me.
Well, I will definitely do so. And yes, and provided we are able to deal with this Sabat raid, I believe we can. If your aid does come of use, I believe we can, at the very least, expedite uh, any moves towards claiming a domain that you have.
Excellent. Most generous.
That for now, I'll let you know if we have need of you. And with that, Leon will nod, and he'd put his mirror away, but he also does very brief nods at where the three wraiths were when he entered.
When you look at the mirror again,
Mm-hmm.
there's Only 2 rates there.
Well, but in any case, heads back out. Once they're a decent distance away and don't appear to be any wraiths following them, he'll turn to Rafat and say, well, I will definitely give him... I'll give him credit for being resolute in his goals.
I doubt he knows any facts, but he certainly seems to, I suspect quite a bit.
Oh, yes. To be perfectly honest, anytime you're working in the intelligence business, about 2/3 of what you work on is suspicions. The times you actually get a cold hard fact are moments to be cherished.
I suspect you have far more facts about this than he does.
Yes, I believe I do. I can't say I didn't see this coming. I'm just a little annoyed.
Have you set up a secure personal domain yet?
Yes, I've actually been in the process of securing it, and that domain also includes Kings Park, as well as certain other things that are of potential danger, and that I'm preferring to keep those who are not currently studying it under my direct or indirect command away from certain areas that are potentially dangerous.
Well, I have, I'm sure if you want to go somewhere with more, at any point, more established defenses, security, I'm sure the rest of the lines may such things to be discussed, but that might send out the wrong kind of political message. I do have, as you know, a respectable sized personal domain, and you would be welcome there for the duration of this course. Of course, you're the prince, you may go where you please, but that might not be the exact same political message.
Yes. Now, yes, if it comes to a point where when I start worrying about my haven, well, let's just say your mirror will probably come in very handy.
We shall see, sooner or later.
But, oh, right. He pulls out a cell phone, sends off a quick text. Suppose I'll have to order another table.
Indeed. Well, I believe we should make haste back. Best not to be out too much. As I said, I'm preparing a few different rituals, building up some supplies. Um, if anyone wishes any additional assistance, I will of course provide to the sheriff and a few others. Sheriff, of course, free of charge, but if others wish, Burning Blade is quite potent. I'm will be charging trivial boons. It is a ritual. I do not want to see too many of such weapons floating around.
It's a ritual that is a potential masquerade breach, and not to mention, well, there are a lot of people who tend to look at the magic sword and go, look at my cool shiny new toy."
Regrettably.
As opposed to treating it as it is, a very dangerous tool.
But to the sheriff and the Tremere, I've provided such things.
Well, the sheriff understands and respects weapons, and the Tremere understand and respect magic. So, but, well, let's just say I wouldn't want to see Istvan carry one of those around.
If Istvan came to me,
He,
has proven himself for a trivial boon, I would enchant it. Although it is not inconsiderable.
no, it's, well, when it comes down to it, he's very good at a fight. I'm just not certain he'd necessarily treat it with the caution it deserves.
Potentially. Thankfully, it is not permanent.
That is helpful.
If it was permanent, I would be far more reticent. But even so, even as it currently is, it's always unsure how many strikes the enchantment lasts for. Is always uncertain. But as one's grasp grows, it increases.
Yes. Well, I'm actually thinking about the more commonly known Tremere rituals that are useful. There's that. There's various wards which I believe can be placed upon weapons. And, of course, upon locations as well.
Things are quite a large list, but I can do some of them.
Oh. When it comes down to it, a ward that is useful against other kindred may be useful. And no doubt you will. Well, I'll see about. There may be other things that I'll contact you about for potential haven defense.
Wards that strike against a kindred, although they were one of the most obvious ones, they require a long period of time to study. They are quite intricate. I admit I have not mastered such myself yet.
Well,
However, I do know some lesser versions. Schools, being able to keep them out is always useful in themselves.
oh yes. Well, I'm certain. Well, it's when it comes down to it. Although we're not going to have any. I doubt we'll be able to start putting this together immediately. I have no doubt that you, if you don't have these rituals yourself, know who does or know how to find out. And so, for the longer term, we might be able to commission a few of these weapons for situations such as these.
Potentially, I could make contact. Henry Killinger is somewhat of a prodigy in that regard. However, he rarely does things out of the kindness of his heart.
Right. Well, in any case, yeah, I'll see you around and figure out if I destroyed anything that actually mattered.
Very well, my prince. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you are in need of any counsel or other kinds of aid.
No. If those, well, I will happily do so if it comes to that, or unhappily, as the case may be.
It truly is bizarre. Half a year ago, we were watching the dust settle. Boat ranked as neonate.
Yes, we were skilled and well regarded neonates, but just neonates, and now here we are running a city.
Well,
I never saw myself as a potential prince. Power behind the throne, certainly, but not prince.
well, I'm sure there will be many who will be trying to attach puppet strings, but the best princes use those strings to pull back at the puppeteers.
Oh yes, as you know, as I He remarked to the Archon before he left, I don't intend to be attached to any strings that only pull one way.
Good night, my prince.
Good night, Rafat.